All right. Hello, everyone. A very good morning, good evening to all of you who are joining. Thank you for joining this session on how to fill your Common App. My name is Devesh Lathi, and I represent the Next Genius Foundation. Joining me from my team is Rudra Vyas and our fantastic colleague Joy from Center College. Center College has been a Next Genius partner for over 5 years now, and we have had many students attend Center College, and recently one of our first Next Genius scholars graduated from Center, and we are very excited about that. In today's session, you will learn about Common App, which is the main application portal to apply to colleges in the US and also other countries. I mean, we have Northwestern University in Qatar and American University in Paris, which are also present on Common App, and IE University as well. So almost all the Next Genius colleges, either US based or non-US, are all present on Common App. So if you are a student, I encourage you to go on Common App website and right away create your account so that you can navigate the platform as Joy takes us through it. Before we go ahead, very quickly, I wanted to check with you if you have already applied to Next Genius or not. Just put it in the chat if you have already applied. Say yes, applied. And if you have not yet applied, just say planning to apply or still considering, still thinking about it. So in the chat, have you applied for Next Genius Scholarship Program or not? Okay, I'm getting responses. Okay, so most of you are replying, have said yes. But once again, if you are a student and if you have already applied to Next Genius, just say yes, applied. If you have not yet applied, just let us know if that you're not applied and that you're planning or you're considering Next Genius. Okay, I'm getting some responses here. Thank you, everyone, for confirming. The Next Genius Scholarship Program is one of the largest scholarship abroad program for students from South Asia. Indian, Nepali, Bangladeshi, and Sri Lankan students are eligible to apply to us for scholarship. If you're from any of these countries and also living abroad in any of the countries of the world, you are still eligible. And the process is fairly simple. You apply to us online on our website, which is next-genius.com, and you go through a simple profiling form where you submit all your details, and post submission of your details, you shortlist your top 3 choices from the Next Geniuses list, and we allocate one of those colleges to you. That is the college for which you'll submit your full Common App and other application pieces, and that is the college for which you'll be interviewed for a full or almost full tuition scholarship. Our scholarship program has changed the lives of almost 400 students, and I hope many of you will end up winning these scholarships this year. So once again, without any further ado, let me invite Joy to take over and sort of share with us about Common App and take us through what are the changes in Common App this year. Thank you so much, Joy, for agreeing to do this session for us.
You're very welcome. And thank you, Devesh and Team Next Genius, for giving this opportunity to connect with students who are interested in studying in the US. Well, to start us off, my name is Joy Tet. I am the Associate Director of International Recruitment here at Center College here in Kentucky. Center College is a member of the Next Genius organization, and we've been a proud partner, and we're excited to connect with all of you, whether you're a prospective student, a high school counselor, IEC, or families of the prospective students who are joining us today. This session, this workshop is meant to essentially help you with identifying ways to successfully complete the common application. I will provide some guidance as well as some tips and recommendations so that you can be successful in completing the Common App, which I'll explain what it is later on. But I believe most of you already kind of understand what it is. So that's sort of the plan for today. And before we begin, let me try sharing my screen. It's been a while since I've done this in a couple of months, so this might take a second. Let's see, shared. Okay. Can folks see my screen okay? That says the Next Genius.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Well, with that, why don't we get started? Like I have said before, this is a brief walkthrough of the Common Application, and this is what we're trying to accomplish today. So these are our goals for today. We have three goals. The first goal is to know what Common App is. I think most of you, like I've said before, have some understanding of what the Common App is. Perhaps some of you have already begun completing your Common applications. That's great. If you haven't, that's okay. This just started, right? The Common App application opened about a week or so ago for this upcoming cycle, so you're not too late. The second goal that we're trying to accomplish today is to learn how to complete the Common App. And of course, you don't have to do this alone because you will have help and support, whether it's through admission counselors like myself or, through your high school counselor. Next Genius can also help with some of these support as well. So understand that Common App is a giant to complete, but at the same time, you will have help and support. The last goal that we're going to try to accomplish today is to be able to present your authentic self in your Common App application, because this is an important part of your admission process if you are applying to US colleges and universities, as well as some other global universities that are listed on the Common App. So those are our three main goals for today. And from that, why don't we start with learning a little bit about what the Common App is and what it does? So, well, before all of that, we will have some time at the end for your questions. So be thinking about what questions you have. You can put them in the chat later on, but we'll have some time set aside for you all at the end of the workshop portion of this session, so that I can help answer any questions you may have at the end. So that's the plan. So what is the Common App? Common App is an application platform that is online, that is used by over 1,000 colleges and universities in the US as well as around the world, but most of the members of the Common App are US institutions. So this is a really convenient way for prospective students to apply to a number of colleges and universities through the Common App, where everything that you have completed lives in one single platform, and you're able to use those application materials to apply to a number of different schools and institutions. It's fairly simple. It's user-friendly as long as you're, able to navigate a lot of the simple technology platform. You should be able to navigate through the Common App fairly quickly. And most importantly, it's free. It's accessible to anybody with a device, electronic device, and internet connection. So that's what the Common App does. It is a one-stop shop for all things admission, college admission related. So that's what the Common App is. Of course, there are a ton of other college application platforms as well. One of the other well-known one is the Coalition app. It's a little different from the Common App, but it's not drastically different. So once you have a good understanding of, for example, the Common App, you should be able to navigate the Coalition app or some other application platforms. And you also have to understand that in the US, schools will use different application platforms, but many of them will use the Common App. So that's why we're doing this session today, so that you are able to start your college application. Now, before you get started with your Common application, we'll just call it Common App for short. There are some starting tips that you have to consider, because once you begin the process, we want you to be prepared, whether it's, gathering application materials or some other thing. So here are some of the starting tips that I want you to keep in mind as you begin your as you begin completing your Common application and as you build up your profile. So first tip is to gather all of your application materials before you start your Common App, so that you have all the necessary information available at your hands. So when you're completing different sections of the Common App, which we'll cover in just a little bit, you'll have all that information right before you so that you can easily, complete your Common application and your profile. So that's the first tip. The second tip is to use the same personal email address that you are going to check, number one, frequently, as well as the email that you're going to use for all of your college application process. So what I mean by this is in colleges back end, we try to match your Common application um, and the emails that you're using to send materials to us if you haven't uploaded to the Common App. And in our databases, we use your email address to match these records. So it's important for you to use the same email address that you're going to use for the Common App, as well as for the materials that you're going to send in, or the emails that you're going to send to admission counselors. Oftentimes students will create an email address just for US college application process that they use for the Common App, that they use for standardized test taking and things like that. If you It's not the end of the world if you end up using different email address, but we prefer that you use the same email address for all of your college admission process, including the Common App and everything else. So that's the second tip. The third tip is to start early. I think you attending this session, this is a clear indication that you are eager to start. So start early. Don't wait until the last minute. These things take time, and you will see what I mean by these things take time. So start early. That's a good one. And the other thing that is applicable not just for college admission process, but anything in life, is to be truthful and to be honest. And when you're applying to US colleges, we want you to be your truthful and honest self, because you're telling us about who you are, not a version of you that we want to hear, right? So that's very important on the Common App. So make sure that you're being truthful and honest when you're completing the Common application. Now, last but not least, you have to complete all the sections that apply to you. Common App has a number of different sections that you have to complete, and it is important that you complete anything that is relevant to you and your application. So those are some of the starting tips that I have for you. I've used a meme here that says, brace yourself, college application season's coming. If you are a fan of Game of Thrones, you'll know this meme. But college application season is upon us. It is on their way. It has already started. So get ready, and let's get to work. So here are some of the things that you will need before you begin your Common application journey. So you're going to need records of your academic transcripts. So if you're still in high school, you would have already had your CBSE exams and things like that. Make sure you have those in hand. You will also have high school transcript for grade 9, grade 10, grade 11. So if you don't have those, start gathering those documents. And then you will also need a list of your extracurricular activities, family responsibilities, as well as, part-time jobs and things like that that you are involved in outside of classes, because those will be handy as well. The other things that you will need are, of course, your test scores if you have taken any standardized tests, whether it's ACT, SAT, IGCSE. If you have taken any of the English proficiency exams, you will also need those scores as well, depending on the schools that you're applying to. So it's always good to have those records as well. And of course, when it comes to testing, not every school will require these specific tests. So you have to check what's required of you from these colleges and universities. But for the most part, schools will require proof of English proficiency. So those are going to be the tests that you might already have or that you are planning on taking. If you haven't taken a test yet and you don't have those scores, that's fine. But you can indicate on the Common App that you intend to take those tests later on. Now, parent, legal guardian information. So there will be a section about family where you fill in information about your guardian, your family, your parents. So those information are important as well. last but not least, it's the academic honors and achievements that you have received throughout your high school years. So those are great to have in hand. And this is not an exhaustive list of things that you will need before you begin your Common App journey. But these are some of the the core elements of what is going to complete your Common Application. So these are some of the documents that you should start out with. And of course, anything that you begin online begins with an account. So creating an account is fairly simple. You'll go to the Common App website and you'll create a Common App account for your college application. Like I said before, use a personal email account that you're going to check frequently and that you're going to use for many of your college application processes. The other thing to keep in mind is to use your legal name as it appears on your official documents, such as your passport, your national ID, or your school transcript. And the reason why this is important is because we match your records and you'll be issued documents that has the name that you use on the Common App. So it's important for you to use your legal name that matches all of your legal documents so that all the records can be the same. So that's important. And of course, once you have reviewed privacy and communication preferences for the Common App, you click create account, and then you have an account. So we won't go through each of those steps. I think many of you, if not most of you, are, you know, tech savvy, well aware of how to navigate these things. So I will skip that process. But once you have created your Common Application account, this is the dashboard, or this is what the dashboard would look like for you as an applicant. On the dashboard, you'll be able to see a couple of different things, but I'll draw your attention to the bar on the left. These are the tabs that you're going to use a lot to complete your Common Application as well as apply for colleges. So it is fairly simple to be familiar with this. You have the dashboard, which is the view that you're seeing. My Common Application is what we'll spend quite a bit of time on today. And then following that, my colleges. These are the colleges that you have added to your Common Application that you're interested in applying to. And like I said before, there are over 1,000 colleges and universities on the Common App. Common App will set a limit of 20 schools for you in a single profile that you can apply to because we want you to not be overwhelmed by the number of applications that you have to apply. So any colleges that you add will be under this tab, and of course, college search process will be a section where you're able to look for colleges and universities. You can add them, you can drop them. So there's that. Direct admissions is something that some universities and colleges do in terms of admitting students directly based on either their academic records or some other things without the student actually applying for it. So some schools do that, not every school does. So I will just briefly go over that. And financially, of course, it's a tab that could be useful for international students, but I think given the differences in financial aid policies of colleges and universities in the US for international admission, you will have better luck working with each individual school's financial aid policy as opposed to going through the Common App process. So that's a little bit about what the dashboard looks like. And of course, we'll be covering all of these things, right? And something to take notice is earlier you saw these profile, family, education. These are different sections of your core Common Application. Those are looking like they're empty. Though as soon as you have completed a section, these things will turn green. It will have a green check mark that looks like this. That means it's been submitted to the college, or it's not been submitted to the college, it's been completed in your Common Application. And just a blue circle means that you're either still working on it or they're ready for submission. You haven't really submitted. So that's something to take notice. So if they look like this, that means you're still working on it or they're ready to be submitted. If they're green, that's great. So remember that, make sure to check for those visual cues as you work through your Common Application. Now, Making your college list is important. You might want to start off with a couple of colleges that you have done research on so they can be added under the college search tab that you saw earlier. So going back, this is the tab that you would use to look for colleges, but also add and drop the list of colleges that you're interested in. Adding those colleges doesn't mean that you are applying. So it's important to know the difference between adding and actually submitting an application. So just because you have added a college or a university to that college list doesn't mean that you have already applied. You still have to do the work. But once you have added the colleges, you'll be able to, learn a little bit more about the institution that you have added. You can also learn the requirements for it. So that's what that tab is there for you. And of course, through those tabs, once you have added schools, you can request recommendation letters, and you can also complete college-specific requirements and apply to those specific institutions. So keep that in mind. You'll have to play around a little bit for you to fully understand on your own once you have created an account. So this is what that college search process will look like. Once you have clicked on the tab, you will type in the college or the city name that you are interested in going to. And we won't go through the details of how to create a college list because that's an entirely different workshop that will require an hour or so. So we won't talk about it too much, but you can add colleges and universities this way on this tab. Now, the Common Application, it has a couple of different sections, and these are some of the major sections that you have to complete before you begin even applying to colleges. So these are things like profile, family, education, testing, activities, writing, course and grades. So this sounds like an overwhelming list. This is a long list, right? And within each of these sections, there are subsections that you have to complete. So it is a long journey, which is why we are recommending that you start the Common Application early. All of these sections are going to be under My Common Application tab, and you have to submit and complete each of these sections before you can apply to any colleges. So remember that. And each section is going to be self-explanatory, and we'll look at some of these sections in close details. So in the profiles, the first section, it's going to ask you about your personal information, so your biographical data, your contact details, your demographics, languages you speak. So, things that you fill out to identify who you are as a student, but also as an individual human being. An updated section for this year's Common Application is the geography and nationality, and we'll look at that. And then, of course, within the profile section, there's also the Common App fee waiver. Remember that not every school charges an application fee, so you might not need to complete the section for every school, but if you qualify for a fee waiver, you can complete the section to request a fee waiver, application fee waiver for the schools that you're applying to that requires it. But because this year's update includes some things on geography and nationality, I will make that highlight because it's new for obviously students, but also for counselors perhaps. So geography and nationality, it's essentially asking, where you are from, where's your birth country, but it also asks your citizenship status in the Common App. And this is something new for you to, if you're applying for the first time this year, this will be new for everybody. But this is a section where you essentially identify what your citizenship status is. So for most international students, you're going to select citizens of non-US country, but as you can see, there are also other options that identifies any status that is related to being in the US or being a US citizen. There are explanations to what each of these means, but for most international students who are not US citizens or who are not US permanent residents, this is what you'll pick, citizen of non-US country. And then there are some other additional explanation of what some of these statuses mean. So for example, there's a long explanation of what a US resident is. These are legal statuses, by the way, so it's not a self-identified status. These are legal status that you have So pay attention to that. If you're not sure about what each of these means, or if you're unsure, Common App has a number of resources that you can check out. You would have to read through things, but you can also, of course, ask admission counselors as well as organizations like Next Genius, as well as your high school counselors if you have them. Now, from there, we're jumping into family information. Family information is fairly simple as well. It's information about your immediate family members. So it asks you information about your parents, legal guardians, siblings, and other immediate family members. So if certain sections apply to you, you can complete them. If certain sections don't apply to you, you can leave them as it is. And once again, always be honest, always be truthful when you're filling out family information as well. Now, getting to the meat of, some of the more complicated sections. So education, it's a big one. This is a section where you complete information about your high school education, your secondary school education. This is also a section where you fill out information about any post-secondary or any institutions that you have attended or completed after you have finished high school or secondary school. So whether it's colleges or universities, if you're a transfer applicant, those will go in that section as well. This is a section where you also fill out your grades, so self-reported grades and things like that. And if you're still in high school and you are in your senior year, this is a section where you fill out information about the classes that you're taking or the classes that you will be taking in your senior year. So a lot of this section is self-reported, but of course, anything that you submit will be consistent with the transcripts and the other academic records that you will submit as part of your admission application to colleges and universities. This is a section where you'll also be able to present and talk about the honors and the achievements that you have received over your, years of high school. And this is a section where you can also talk about your future plans, whether it's, to go on to attend master's or do a PhD, whatever your future plans may be. That's a section where you fill those out as well. And this section is why we ask students to have their transcripts and academic records ready at hand so that when they get to this section, you're able to complete all of this information without having to scramble for like, okay, what's my 10th grade transcript and what are the grades that I got during 10th grade? So that's why it's important for your students to have those records in hand when you begin your common application. Now, testing, like I said before, it's another section. Not every school requires testing, but like I said before, if you are an international student, most schools will require proof of English proficiency. So this is a section where you can self-report your English proficiency test scores. You can also, of course, report your standardized test scores, whether it's SAT, ACT, and if you are, for example, if you're in a curriculum that is an internationally recognized curriculum, and you have taken those tests, you can submit those or you can report those scores as well. If you are still in those programs and you haven't taken a test, those will be indicated on your courses that you saw in the previous section, in the education section. That's where you record the classes and the courses that you're taking. But of course, if you have taken those exams already, you can report them here. And not everyone is going to be reporting internationally recognized programs. There are different curriculums that you may be in. So we also want students to make sure that they are reporting the national curriculum exams that they have taken in the past. So this is a section where anything test related will be reported. Activities. Activities is a fun one because this is a window into your profile, a window into your lives as more than just students, right? Because aside from attending classes and studying, you are most likely going to be doing a lot of extracurricular activity, whether it's participating in clubs and organizations on your campuses, or you are involved in other ways, for example, helping family, doing community service in your local hometown and things like that. So this is a section where you will talk about these things. And this is an important section, especially for institutions that are looking at your application in more than just academic ways, right? We're looking at colleges and universities that do holistic review are looking for students who are able to succeed and who are meaningfully engaged outside of the classroom. So this is the section where they'll look at the things that you're involved in outside of the classroom, whether it's community service, athletics involvement, leadership roles. So this is a section where you'll complete. This is a section that you complete in order to showcase a lot of those things. And, like I said, anything from work-related, hobbies, club activities to family responsibilities, those things count. So if you're having doubts about whether, you helping your younger sibling, or whether you're tutoring your younger sibling on math classes, whether those things count or not, those things certainly do. So make sure to report those. Details are important. If you don't share details about what those are, we won't know. So tell us in a very concise manner what you're involved in and things that you're doing in this particular section. And I have taken a screenshot of what those responsibility sections and circumstances look like. So like I said before, oftentimes it's very clear what club activities you might be involved in at school. Those are, pretty common, but there are also other things that you might be involved in that are not considered your typical extracurricular activities. So if those things are on this list, you can certainly check those off if you have spent a considerable amount of time doing those things throughout your day or throughout your week. Whether it's helping with the family business or helping a younger sibling, there are a number of things that are listed here. If those things apply to you, make sure to check those off because it tells us that you are not only a successful student academically, but you're also doing a number of things outside of school to help your family, to help your community, and be a meaningful citizen that is engaged in meaningful work. From there, we'll go to writing. Not every colleges will require essays, but there will be writing required. A writing section is required for the Common App. So to start us off, there is one main essay that every student applying to U.S. colleges and universities are going to write, and that's your personal statement, your personal essay. It goes by a lot of names. This essay can also be called the Common App essay. It's a 250 word to 650 word essay that you write, and this is the essay that is going to be sent to all the institutions that you apply to, because this is the main essay that you're going to use to apply to all the institutions on the Common App. So this is an important part, and it's important for you to take time to perfect and essentially review and revise the personal essay. There are different prompts that you can follow. Common App provides several prompts that you can follow in case you are unsure about what you want to write and how you want to write your Common Application essay. I've not listed the Common App prompts, but it is on there. You'll be able to see that. Colleges and universities read those essays to determine who you are as a student, but also to assess whether you can write efficiently, proficiently in English. So this is an important application material for prospective students to showcase who you are, but also to prove that you are able to write well and effectively in English. And like I said before, it is important for you to be concise. 250 words is the minimum that you have to write in that section. But if you go over 650, you might have some issue, right? So it's important to be concise. And this is also a section where you're able to report additional information about your application in general. So whether it's about, academic explanation about why you receive a certain grade in grade 9 or grade 10, or it's an additional information section where you can report on things that are not in other parts of your application. So that section is an opportunity for you to expand on a couple of different things. It's not a requirement. Use it when necessary, but you are not required to complete the additional information section. So remember, when you're writing a Common Application essay, it's important to be authentic, true to yourself, but also concise. And of course, I have taken another screenshot of what the additional information section will look like, and it gives you an explanation of, what other additional information that you could add as part of your application. So I won't go through each one of them. Some of these things are about challenges and hardships that you experience as a high school student, as an individual person, wherever you are. So if any of these things apply or anything beyond this list apply, you are more than welcome to share those additional information, but it is not required. Courses and grades is another section. This will be fairly similar to the testing section that we heard earlier. It's not required all the time. Not all schools will need it, but this is a section where you can also fill out, the courses that you're taking, the grades that you have received for those courses. So fairly self-explanatory. As long as you have your transcript and your academic records, you should be golden here. And moving on, recommendations. So recommendation letters, they're important because this is another window into your profile as a student. Of course, you're not going to be the one writing those recommendation letters. You've done enough writing. Let other people talk a little bit more about you. And this is what this section is. Recommendation letters are helpful for admission counselors to understand who you are in the classroom from the perspective of someone who knows you really well. This is also an opportunity for someone else in your life, whether it's a teacher, whether it's your counselor, whether it's a member of your community or your boss, if you have a part-time job or some kind of job, for them to share a little bit about how awesome you are. So you want the person recommending you to be someone who knows you well, right? Because you want them to be able to write a really good letter that presents who you are as a person, who you are as a student and individual. So we read them. Admission counselors read those recommendation letters because it helps us understand the students a little bit more. Of course, before you are able to request recommendation letters, there is something that you have to complete. There is something called Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. This is a law in the US. We call it FERPA. This essentially is something that you have to read and understand before you can begin requesting recommendation letters. And we'll cover FERPA in just a little bit. But going on with recommendations, your high school counselors or your teachers or any person that is writing a recommendation letter for you, they can do it through the Common App. And I'll show how to request recommendation letters to your counselors and your teachers or whoever is recommending. Typically, colleges will require one counselor recommendation. So this is someone in a capacity that is helping you as the high school counselor in your college application journey. Not everyone has a high school counselor. I understand that it could be a teacher who is helping you through the college application process. So keep that in mind. And of course, most schools will require just one other recommendations in addition to the counselor recommendation. So, of course, you can submit more, but only one recommendation is required by schools. Sometimes schools won't even require an additional recommendation. So it's really up to the school and it's really up to you to make sure that you are fulfilling or making sure that all the requirements are completed. And of course, your recommenders are going to need a little bit of time to write those awesome letters for you. So make sure to give them enough time by requesting these recommendation letters early on, because chances are that if you are requesting a recommendation letter from a teacher at your school, they're going to have more than just your recommendation letters to write. So you want to be considerate and give them enough time to write those letters for you. So going back to FERPA, before you are able to request recommendation letters, you have to read what the FERPA does and all of that. So on the Common App, it will link you to hyperlinks that you're able to look at to complete the FERPA and all of that. But it essentially acknowledges that any school that you're applying to, if you are waiving your FERPA rights, or if you're waiving the right to review all recommendation and supporting documents, that means you're not seeing what your recommenders are writing about you. If you do not waive those rights, that means you are able to see those recommendation letters and what's in them. So it's up to you to decide what you feel is the most appropriate for you and your journey. But you do have to complete the FERPA form before you're able to request recommendation letters or anything of that sort on the Common App. So make sure to read and understand through all of this before you begin requesting recommendation letters. So there is a really good explanation on how all of that works. But anything that you choose should be what you did end up deciding. And once you have done all of that, you have signed up on the FERPA release authorization, you will see this little tab called Invite Recommenders on the Common App. That's where you invite your counselors as well as your recommenders to complete an recommendation letter for you on your behalf for your college application. So this is the button that you'll be able to use to, and it essentially sends an email to the person that you want recommendations from, and they'll be able to submit those letters through the Common App. So if you have a recommender who is unable to do those things, colleges will sometimes also accept submission by email from those recommenders, as long as they identify who they're writing the recommendation letters for. So it's if you're unable to have your recommenders submit their recommendations on the Common App, they're still able to submit those recommendations via email or some other ways that the colleges will use. So keep that in mind. So we've gone through a number of different sections. So let's pretend that all the things that we were talking about, profile, family, education, what we just did earlier, pretend that we just completed all those sections. So now all of these are completed. They're all green, right? They all have a green check mark. Is this the end of your college application journey? No, it is not. Because once you have submitted all of these things, that means you have completed your common application. You have not applied to any schools. So that is one takeaway that I want you to know at this time. Completing your common application is not the same as submitting a college application. What I mean by that is this section of your common application that is seen by every colleges that you apply to when you apply to them, but this is just the basic information about your college application. You're not, once you've completed this, you still have additional steps that you have to complete. So if you look below here, where my colleges are, these are the colleges that you have added to your common application. You will see that even though you have completed my common application, you still have a lot of work to do with the college specific application, because every colleges will require their own set of requirements. So that's why this little blue ring is still empty. It doesn't have a green check mark. So this is what we're going to talk about next. So remember this slide, right? Completing Common App is not equal to submitting a college app, because you have a lot of other things to do. And those additional things for colleges may be that you need to submit supplemental essays, or you need to submit resume. Most of them, some of them are going to be optional, some of them are going to be required. And college specific requirements can be found on the college specific tab. So earlier, going back, you saw that on the My Application, you've completed everything. That's great, but you also want to be completing whatever it is required by the colleges that you have added. So make sure these are green as well, right? So let's talk a little bit about that. So we'll cover a lot of these, proofread, triple check everything before you submit. In terms of college specific ones, let's just use Center College as an example for this case study. So you've completed your common application profile and everything. Now you're ready to actually start applying to colleges and universities on your list. And let's say Center College is on your list, and you've added Center as one of the colleges that you want to apply to. And for Center, we, of course, require the Common App, right? That's your admission application. There will be additional questions that you might have to answer about Center. Of course, recommendations and FERPA, those things are also required. And then we require an additional supplemental essay that you would submit. Typically, it's a college-specific prompt that you answer. It tends to be a little shorter than your common application. So those things are required for each and individual colleges. for you to complete their application. So for Center, you would answer the supplemental essay of why you want to apply to Center. And there will be a section where you can submit that thing. And any other colleges will have other sets of requirements as well. Chances are that you will encounter some schools that requires additional things, some schools that don't require anything additional other than your common application. So it's your job and your responsibility to make sure that you know what those requirements are. And of course, once you have added schools, you can check what the college specific requirements are. And then once you have completed them, we're going to skip this one. You hit submit after you have completed all of your common application as well as the college specific requirements. So I skipped ahead a little bit to show you what the submission page looks like so that you actually click submit. So once you're done with your common application, this is what the section will look like. But once you have completed all of that, you also worked on your college specific requirements. So all of these things will have green check marks, right? Green check marks are good. Anything that looks like a yellow empty or blue empty, circles, those are not great. That means you still need to work on it or you still have to submit them. So you want to see green check marks in any of the sections that you have worked on because that means you have completed it and submitted it. But once you have completed all the college specific requirements, this is the page that you'll get to. Read through anything that applies to you. It will ask you for social security number and things like that, if those are required and if those are applicable. If you are an international student who doesn't have any kind of status in the US, you will most likely not have certain information like social security number, and that's fine. If those things don't apply to you, you don't have to complete those. But for the most part, anything that is required of you and anything that's applicable to you, complete those to the best of your knowledge. And once you have done all of that, make sure to review everything because triple checking, spell check, everything that's important because by the time you submit your application, it's gone. It's coming to us. So make sure to check everything before you click submit. And after reviewing everything, you click, you can download a PDF copy of what you have completed on your common application and your college specific sections. And once you have reviewed everything and they are to your liking, you click continue. If a college requires an application fee, it will ask you for payment information. If you're applying to a college or a university that doesn't require any application fee, for example, Center, you won't have to fill out those. And then you continue. And then, of course, you'll have to check more boxes to make sure that you understand certain policies, certain expectations, certain acknowledgements. And after you have checked those boxes and you're good with that, you click submit, you sign, you do a digital signature, you date your application, and then you click submit. And this is what that will look like once you have submitted an application to the college or the institution that you're applying to. It says you have successfully submitted your Common App for first year students to Center College or whatever institution that you're applying to. So remember all the green check marks. And after you've submitted an application to the college or the university, it will look something like this. All of those will be green. So this is one college on my list, right? If you have multiple colleges, which many of you will have multiple green lines and multiple green dots with check marks. So that's essentially what this will look like once you have completed and submitted everything that you need for your college application. So that includes your common application as well as the college specific application. So remember that completing the Common App doesn't mean that you have submitted everything to the colleges. Make sure to submit the college specific requirements as well. So that is all the things that I have to share with you about the Common App and completing the Common App. I know there's a lot of information, so if you have questions later on, feel free to get in touch with us. And at Center, we're trying to help international students who are interested in applying to Center with the application process and everything. So if you are interested in getting in touch with me and my team, feel free to email us here at intladmission@center.edu. we're happy to help. And I've put this QR code here. This has all the information that you need as an international applicant. And of course, I'll share a little bit about Center in just a little bit, but our job is to help students with U.S. admission process. Next Genius is here as a support as well. So we're all here to help you identify different ways in which you can apply to U.S. colleges and universities and perhaps find out awesome opportunities at places like Center or any other places in the U.S. So with that,
Yes.
I'll stop there and I'll
Yeah.
let Devesh identify where we go from
Yeah.
here.
So thank you so much, Georgia. It was a fantastic session. Thanks for all those perfect screenshots and taking us through the whole process. Students, a couple of quick things. Number one, the deadline for submitting your college application for your next Genius college application is January 1, which means you must submit all components of your college application by January 1 in order to be invited for the scholarship interviews. That's point number one. Point number two, which a lot of students actually always ask us every year is, should we submit our application before the counselor has uploaded their LORs or recommendations? Absolutely. You don't need to wait for your counselors to submit their LORs and then you submit your common app. Do not wait for them. As soon as you have invited them, you are good to go. You can go ahead and submit your applications. Please do not wait for them to submit their components because that just delays the whole process. Make sure you complete everything on time and then just request your counselor and let them know that you have applied for Next Genius and that uh, they will need to submit their letter of recommendations by January 1. So those were the 2 points. To all the students who joined a little late, if you have not yet applied for the Next Genius Scholarship Program, we invite you to submit your application, register with us on our website, next-genius.com. Next Genius connects you with some life-changing scholarships where you can study at some of the best colleges and universities of the world on a significant scholarship. So we invite you to apply to us for scholarships. Let me invite Joyjoy once again. And Joyjoy, please share a little bit about Center College. Tell us about what students study at Center and how can they benefit from the opportunities that Center has to offer.
Yeah, thank you, Devesh. And I will do this quickly because I want to make sure that I also get to the audience question as well. And of course, there will be many other opportunities for you all as students to learn more about Center as well in the future. And the reason I've put up this slide here is because this QR code, like I said before, will have all different ways for you to learn about Center, but also to connect with us for future webinars and workshops just like this one that we do for international students. So to share a little bit about Center, we are a small private liberal arts and sciences college in the US. We are a four-year institution. We are located in a place called Kentucky. You might have heard of us through KFC, perhaps. And we are a small liberal arts college located here in Kentucky. Our student population is about 1,400 students, with 6% of our student body being international students. So we have had a number of international students coming from over 35 different countries, all the way from as far as India, Nepal, Myanmar to Japan and some other parts of the world. So this is a very diverse and very inclusive place. This is a small, tight-knit community where you're going to learn uh, more than just the name of your friends who lives on your hall. You're going to be living together with your peers from all around the world, all over the US. Your professors are going to know you more than just your name. And Center is known for a couple of different things, but three things that I'll share with you that you might be interested in is Center, of course, it's a fantastic liberal arts institution. We're very strong on our liberal arts tradition where students are able to learn about a lot of different fields. in addition to what you're majoring in, and we do our STEM programs really well. So some of our most popular major programs among international students are programs like business, computer science, biochemistry, economics. Those are really strong STEM as well as social science programs. And of course, we do a lot of other things, right? In fact, this fall, we are starting an engineering major as well. So there are a lot of fantastic opportunities for you to not only be involved academically, but we're very strong with helping students identify professional development experiences and experiential learning opportunities through internships, through study abroad. Our fantastic study abroad programs span the entire globe, whether you want to span a semester in London or whether you want to spend a semester working for a tech startup in New York City. These are some of the opportunities that we offer to our students, whether you are an international student coming from India or whether you are a domestic student coming from Danville, Kentucky. So a lot of opportunities for students to be involved in not just academically, but also out of campus as well. And of course, this is a very active campus where students are doing a number of different things. They take on leadership roles. So this is a community that is very much invested in the way we help and support our students with their goals and aspirations. So that's all I'll say for now. Of course, we are a Next Genius partner. We award really generous financial aid and scholarships to Next Genius applicants as well as international students. So if you end up if you end up applying to Center through Next Genius, that's great. If you end up applying to Center through some other means, that's great as well. We will consider you as international applicants and will welcome your application. And we will, of course, help and support you through the admissions process. So myself and my colleagues here in the admissions office will be there to help support you in your college admission journey. So, and of course, feel free to get in touch with us. Make sure to take a screenshot or a picture of this QR code. And if you want to connect with me later on, email us here. That's actually more than just a short, concise presentation about Center. That's the best I could do. But I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. Devesh, I have some
Yes,
questions in the chat. Do you
sure.
want me to go ahead and answer those
Yes,
or?
please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Someone asks if I'm assuming college admission counselors prefer to do we prefer that students fill out the additional information section on the writing part of the Common App? I think it is up to you. Like I've said before, additional information can be helpful if there are unusual circumstances that are happening in your high school years as well as within your family or within your surrounding. I think it's important for us to understand the context of the circumstances that you're dealing with. So if there's something unusual and you want admission counselors to understand what those specific circumstances are, the additional information section is a great place for you to, share those details with us. Of course, you don't have to use it. You're not required to put anything in the additional information section if it doesn't apply to you or if there's nothing that you want to share. So we will leave that up to you. There is a section. I have another question from a student. There is a section called Courses and Grades on the Common App tab. I go to an ISC school and we do not use GPA. Should I just leave as it is since my high school counselor will be uploading my transcripts? That is a great question. So I understand that not every students or the curriculum that they are in will use a US GPA on a 4.0 scale. That is totally fine if you don't include what your GPA is. If you do have, for example, a way in which your GPA or your grades are calculated each semester or each year, you can put that if it's available. If it's not on a 4.0 scale, that is totally fine as well, because what a lot of the colleges and universities will do, depending on the way they review your application, is they will do a GPA recalculation of your scores, your transcripts. So they have different ways to assess your academic records. So it won't be the end of the world if it's not on a 4.0 scale or if If you don't have a GPA at all, that's fine. If your counselor is going to upload those, they will also submit something called a school report that essentially explains the way grading works in your high school and in your curriculum. So admission counselors are able to understand how you are being assessed in terms of your academic records. I hope that makes sense. Questions are rolling in. That's great. I have another question that asks, what if teachers are reluctant to write recommendations by themselves? Um, that is a great question. I think that I, I'm assuming that they're reluctant to write because they might not be confident in the way they write. Um, so for most admission counselors, it is our preference that the recommenders write those letters themselves. And of course, if they need help with, writing those recommendation letters, there are a number of external support that can help counselors and teachers write those recommendation letters, because at the end of the day, we want to empower your recommenders to be able to share what they want to share with the admission offices and colleges about the student. And we want those letters to come directly from those recommenders. So we always encourage recommenders, if they are needing help with, writing letters and things like that. There are a lot of capacity building workshops that community-based organizations organize, that admission counselors, we sometimes share how teachers and recommenders can write those letters effectively. So if they need help, they are more than welcome to reach out to some of us. So that's the advice that I will give. It is not advisable for students to write those letters on behalf of the recommenders who are writing a recommendation letter for the student, because then it becomes the student's point of view and the student's perspective, right? So that's something to keep in mind. There are college-specific questions that are coming to me, Devesh, and I will answer those very briefly because we can always talk about those. One of those questions is, does Center College offer any study abroad or exchange programs? The answer is yes. In fact, Center is one of the colleges and institutions in the US that offer really fantastic study abroad and exchange programs within the US as well as all around the world. We are perhaps, I think, either number one or number two in the entire United States in terms of students' participation in study abroad and study away programs, because we do them really well, and students have a fantastic time in terms of the way they are learning abroad, but also when they come back. So yes, to answer your questions, we have a lot of study abroad and study away programs. If you want to know more, connect with me, and I'm happy to share what those are. There's another question from an audience who asks, I did my high school from two different schools. Can I have letters of recommendations written from my previous teachers too? So the answer to that is, your letter of recommendation can come from any teacher or any person that knows you well, except perhaps your family members. We want recommendation letters from non-family members, non-family individuals. And what that means is, it can be a teacher from a previous school. That's totally fine. As long as they're able to speak to your individual strengths and qualities and they know you well, that's perfectly fine. And like I said before, most schools will only require one recommendation letter in addition to the counselor recommendation. So keep that in mind. Of course, you can submit more than one, but I think many admission counselors prefer that you submit one really good recommendation letters as opposed to multiple okay recommendation letters. So keep that in mind.
Georgia, we are almost coming towards the end of the time, actually. We are over
Okay.
time, so I think we should be closing now. But before closing, I'd like to invite you for one final piece of advice to the students.
Yes. So you've heard a lot about how to complete the Common App and everything. And I think the most important advice that I will share with all of you today is to always know that you have help and support. Of course, you'll have to do a lot of work on your own first, because we are looking for folks who are go-getters, students who are eager and passionate about making progress towards their goals and aspirations. But it's important for you to do the work yourself. In this day and age, there are a lot of information that you need that is going to be public and online. So always make sure to check school's website, talk to admission counselors if you're able to, but always do your research first. There are questions that can be unanswered, that can't be answered. Those are totally fine. You can always reach out to people to get those answers. So number one, always do your research, always be prepared. Number two, always know that you have help and support, and don't be afraid. Don't hesitate to lean in on those support. So those are the two advice that I will impart on you today. And I know we're at time, so I'm gonna give the floor back to Devesh.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, that's such a wonderful piece of advice. Georgia, you yourself are a international student and you've been through this journey. So I believe this is something which all of you, all the students who are on the call can learn is first, research. Second is we are all here to help you, guide you, support you to navigate this journey. So please do not hesitate in reaching out to us. I just added our email ID on the chat, nextgeniusindia@gmail.com. Please feel free to reach out to us. We are always very, very happy to support you and help you through this whole process. You can also join or connect with us via our Instagram account or our YouTube account, and we'll always be happy to support you. With that, once again, thank you so much, Joy. It was such a pleasure to have you with us, and I really thoroughly enjoyed the session today and learned a couple of new things and about the changes which has happened on Common App. So thank you for taking us through the whole process. And I'm sure many of these students who are applying to us will be looking at Center College as their top choice. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Rudra. Thanks for managing the session. Thank you. Bye.